Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the Pink CYDVF, and on Frankfurt's C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sean Brodrick, Senior Analyst for EdelsenInstitute.com. Welcome back to the show, Sean.
Thanks very much for having me on.
Cobalt. You don't usually hear a lot about it, but now that we're talking electric vehicles, that's really had a lot of interest sparked in cobalt.
Yeah, it's had both good and bad because, for one thing, it is absolutely important for lithium-ion batteries. On the other side, there are these horror stories coming out of the Congo, where most of the cobalt in the world is mined, and just about child labor and slave labor and stuff like that. So it's really kind of a mixed bag. But a very interesting thing happened there, which is that there is a state-run mining company in the DRC, that is the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is not very democratic, but we can have that conversation another time. Anyway, so they had a partner on this project that was recycling old mining waste, but it was cobalt-rich mining waste. So this was a producing project. And so the state mining company kicked out the people that were doing it because they wanted another partner that would give them more money. And so now they're being sued in international court. And so that was a producing source of cobalt, which is now not going to produce probably until 2020. And so this takes a supply-demand squeeze in this very particular metal and just makes it worse. That's why we have seen cobalt stocks blast off this week. But this is probably, I believe, the first move in the next big rush across the energy metals sector, because we've seen metals like lithium really saw their prices snooze for the last couple months. But if we can see this kind of move in cobalt, that will just emphasize to the rest of the world, the short-term supply-demand squeeze. Longer term, they can bring more mines online. Yes, that is absolutely true. But in the shorter term and the intermediate term, they have to bring on at least two cobalt mines a year going forward. I don't see how they're going to do it. And there's some real potential in cobalt, in lithium, and to a lesser extent in like nickel and copper and stuff like that.
Yes, and because the major source of cobalt for the world is the Congo, that makes people nervous right from the start.
Yeah, now, the beauty part is there are some great cobalt projects, potential mines in Canada, and I'm sure some of your listeners probably know about them because if they happen to own them, they are blasting off. I have subscribers who are in one that's in North America. Now they're in a second one in North America because when things started to blast off, I said, let's buy. Why not? We also own one that's in the DRC, which is doing extraordinarily well, but there is a risk there. There is a risk there. So you have to balance out your risk. I think just owning everything that's in the Democratic Republic of Congo could be a recipe for heartbreak. It's good to spread the risk around, spread the opportunities around, look at the other opportunities in the world because there are other sources of cobalt out there.
Crude oil is showing surprising strength, especially for this time of year.
Yes, and now they are trying to talk down expectations of the next OPEC meeting. We saw crude hit a multi-year high. It was over $58 recently. This is West Texas Intermediate, of course. Brent is higher. And so expectations are that at the next meeting of OPEC and the Russians, who are also in on this too. In fact, you might say that they're kind of leading OPEC around on this one. They are probably going to extend their existing production cuts. The question is 6 months or 9 months. Now, the people who are trying to lower expectations are saying 6 months now. Other people are expecting 9 months. 9 months would not surprise me because the real surprising thing is the discipline OPEC has shown in this, especially the Saudis. Because the last time the Saudis did things unitarily, they really get stabbed in the back by everyone else. But they seem to be able to hold it together this time. We'll have to see how it plays out. There are incredible tensions between Iran and the Saudis, between the Saudis and other OPEC producing nations. There's a lot going on right there. And things could unravel. But on the other hand, there seems to be some institutional strength here to hold things together. So I think that we'll see crude oil probably weaken into that OPEC meeting, and then we'll probably see it head higher again. Because we have seen demand around the world pick up quite a bit. And that bear market we had was just brutal, especially on the offshore projects. So, you know, that can cause a supply-demand squeeze that has real potential for select companies anyway.
We'll have more with Sean Brodrick right after the break.
Lotus Ventures Inc. is a BC-based medical marijuana company poised to launch into the rapidly evolving cannabis sector. Lotus is in the final review stage of the Health Canada approvals to become a licensed producer, having arranged facility financing of up to $12 million, plus building permits for its prototype indoor production facility. Shares trade under the symbol J on the Canadian Securities Exchange. Visit our website at lotusventures.ca.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp. Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sean Brodrick. Sean, gold, what's it doing?
Well, gold seems to be hammering out a bottom. It's really kind of interesting to see what's going on there. It helps that the incoming chair of the U.S. Fed is pretty much seen as a dove, kind of a yelling clown. And as much as the economy has picked up, and it's true it has, people have to admit that. I know there are people who want to crap all over it, but no. Things have actually shifted into higher gear and stuff. Despite that, we are seeing a lack of headline inflation. That is inflation that actually gets reported in the numbers that matter to the U.S. Fed. Not things like, say, the cost of education and stuff like that. Those are still going up. But the things that the Fed looks at really haven't been going up in price. And so, also, workers' wages. We've seen that go up a little bit, but not a lot. We'll definitely need to see more before the Fed really feels like hiking a lot. So, because this development is starting to be priced in, I believe that's one of the things that's really adding to the strength in gold. Is it going to make a paradigm shift higher, like many of the bulls say? I don't know. I would rather make money in the energy metals, and that's what we're doing right now. But that doesn't mean that I don't have gold positions, and I'm happy to hold them, especially with the recent strength we've seen. In fact, we saw recently action in the gold miners that was more bullish in the metal itself, at least the ones that I follow. And so that's actually kind of a bullish sign itself that shows that the speculative money is taking positions in the miners, expecting gold to follow through. So there is good stuff in gold, especially look at silver. Chinese imports of silver just jumped through the roof. A lot of that has to be industrial demand, but I mean, it's something to keep your eye on, especially now that we have the major organizations that keep track of these things saying we have seen a peak in global silver production, and we're probably going to see a peak in global gold production pretty soon. So you put those things together, you know, we get squeezed on the one side with supply, we are seeing increasing demand. By the way, I should mention that money has been pouring into the gold ETFs. Exactly why, we're not sure. But somebody seems to be taking big positions because those are at the highest number of ounces they've had all year. So obviously there are some positions being taken ahead of things here. I don't know if it's ahead of the U.S. Fed change or what it is exactly, but definitely things are looking more bullish in the precious metals right now.
The U.S. Fed announced today that any rate hike is now further out than it would have been previously expected. Is that a reason for gold?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there, is that has to be priced in. And I think we'll have another announcement like that unless we start to see the things that they're looking for. The things they're looking for is higher worker wages and higher prices in the inputs into the economy. Unless they see those things, they'll keep pushing that interest rate hike off until the cows come home. Will we start to see that? So far, no.
We'll have more with Sean Brodrick right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain's Brunswick property is located in the Rideout Shear Zone in Ontario, with grab samples running as high as 32 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program to test the numerous targets located by recent groundwork will commence later this year. Please visit our website at rmroyalty.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sean Brodrick. Sean, Palladium, a hot space to be in?
Yes, it is. And I know heck, I talk about the electric vehicle future and stuff, but that is in the future. Right now, the demand is for gasoline-powered cars. People are, they want to drive like big fat Americans. And if you look at what's going on with the price of palladium, I mean, it is rip-roaring. It really is. It's strong. It's at the highest level that I can remember since, I'm saying 2000, 2001. I mean, that's a multi-decade breakout. That's big time. And so I've been talking about this all year. Other people have too. This isn't happening in a vacuum. But there is a real supply-demand squeeze in palladium, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better anytime soon. Now, you could look at other things, like, people say, oh, platinum's going to follow too. Actually, platinum has had a pretty good month, but nowhere near the success that we have in palladium because the demand for diesels is going down because that part of the market is turning to electric vehicles. So I think palladium really has to be seen as the strong man in the metal sector. I mean, in the ones you're used to trading, not things like cobalt, which is just insane, and not lithium, which is also strong too. The strength in palladium is enormous, and people have to be aware of that, and it can be traded.
What's its cost compared to platinum right now?
Oh gosh, I would have to call up those numbers. I know platinum is trading around $950 an ounce, and palladium is $1,021 an ounce. I just pulled those up on my screen.
Yeah.
So it's even though it's not nearly as rare as platinum, palladium is much more expensive. That's a demand side thing. There's much more demand for it. Now, will we see more increase for platinum jewelry from India, for example? Sure, that can happen. There have even been word on the street stuff like that. But until we see that in a major way, that won't really change the equation.
Cyber currencies, especially Bitcoin, skyrocketing right now. Is that a play that people should look at, or is it very, very risky?
It's a play they should have looked at last year.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't own a single Bitcoin, so I'm not the one to talk to. I like tangible things. I mean, this is a conversation you and I have from time to time. And I don't like something that can be stolen by a Russian hacker who just happens to break into my computer, as happens from time to then. I hope they enjoy my vacation pictures. But, if you have the money to waste, or at least that you don't really worry about, and you want to buy some Bitcoin, go for it. I do know that, the major Bitcoin exchange saw 10,000 new accounts created, over last weekend, which is probably all these old dudes sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner with their young nephews who are talking about making all this money in Bitcoin. So, there is potential for that to go higher. There's also potential for it to fall on its face. Sure, it looks like a freaking bubble. It really, really does. And it's supported on nothing, but that doesn't mean it can't go higher. It can't go a lot higher. It's extreme speculation, but many things in the market are extreme speculation. So, I think last time we talked, I told you about one of my young subscribers who had his strong reasons for why he buys and holds cyber currencies. And he had good reasons. He doesn't have any faith in the Fed. He doesn't really trust the government and all this stuff. These are all good reasons to hold cyber currencies, and I hope he becomes a billionaire. It's just that obviously there's higher risk in this one too, so people have to be aware of that.
Sean, thank you so much for chatting with us.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks, Jim.
My guest has been Sean Brodrick, Senior Analyst for EdelSonInstitute.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com Radio. Find us on Twitter at HowStreet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show or our guests can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com Radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com Radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.